Hello, welcome to Line War. I'm John Joe, and today we have a battle 2v2 between Space Alpaca, awesome name, Kartoffelman versus Snow and Animal. I'm going to slow it down now. So, over here we have Kartoffelman, who is going for a couple of barracks and two factories, or three barracks, getting a bit of eco set up, and an airfield, but they only have energy here, which I think is what they're going for. Unless I'm missing something, let's turn off Fog of War. So they haven't got energy up straight away. However, Space Alpaca does, and they're going for a bit of an invasion, I think. Trying to spread across the map. Over here we have Snow, and Animorph is over here. So it's two separate islands for Bravo team. Alpha team are occupying the same land, but it's much larger. Let's have a quick look at how it's spread out so far. So we got a town, pretty much each for Bravo team. A whole city, should I say, not a town. And Alpha team are going to have to work with what they got for a little bit. They're going to be able to advance with their units a bit faster. Pretty much because they're going to be able to focus on production, whereas the other team, who actually are going for mostly production. I would have thought I'd expect to see a fair bit of eco this early in when you're on a single island. But it looks like they want to secure some land on the opponent's side early. What is Animorph doing over here? We've got a bit of energy, some energy storage. They're going for the economy route, and there is a trade route, but I very much doubt that's going to come into play. It's literally across the map. And they're going to be taking over some land there. So at the same time, both of Bravo team are going to be heading for some land on the opponent's territory. And that is a very short area to cross. If you really want to get units across fast, that's it. It looks like, though, Snow is going to have to deal with a bit from Animorph as well, as he's bringing some units across too, but that shouldn't be too hard as he hasn't focused too heavily on economy and he's gone for a lot of production. He has turned off production now though, which is going to allow him to fix up the economy. He's going to spot this. He's got some units going in for it already. So those artillery are probably not going to survive that, and they're probably not going to be able to bring in enough reinforcements to handle that quick enough. The opposite can be said for this side. There's enough reinforcements coming in, so they will be able to put a defensive formation up there. However, Space Alpaca's expanding their production over here. They're going for another factory. Up in the north, Kartoffelman has also spotted the proxy base that's being built up here. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get enough units out, especially when Kartoffelman has energy units, the aircraft. And he's got an energy well now in construction, but he should be able to send them off at least once. He does have 25 energy to use. And he is going to try and go for these structures. And Animorph is going for tanks directly on this land. That is not a bad choice in this situation. He's got a lot of energy and good lot to store up as well. He's also getting a city on the way. So Animorph is doing exceptionally well in this scenario, and he is going to be able to put a lot of pressure on there if he can get in. Or survive long enough with the tanks. Snow, on the other hand, has managed to secure some land, but this choke point here is going to be a bit of a difficult one to try and go around if he secures it. He's going to get trapped on his own little bit of land here, but he could start sending units around to the side, but I don't think that's going to last much longer. Snow doesn't have too much of an army over there, or navy, should I say, to be able to deal with that. The helicopters are being moved in, and there's a ground force on their way. Anti-air's coming in via the sea, but only one unit so far, and one's just been produced as well, so this is two units being able to hold them back. But the ground forces are what's going to probably destroy this region for Animorph. Trying to keep focus on two different points of the map. We've got a good lot of units coming in here, so Space Alpaca managed to take out this location, but only to get more reinforcements flooded in. Personally, I think it would have been better to just ignore this location. His units were over here, and there's a choke point there. As they're distracted, he should have cut across straight here, I think. Take the risky move, be bold. Up over this section, though, I think they've got enough to defend from the air units now. However, there is nothing they can really do apart from get some reinforcements in to deal with the ground forces, but they just don't have any. Not really. And we've got a crossing from Space Alpaca to Animorph. But the submarine will stop that from happening again. There's a few in the area now. And Kartoffelman has his units literally on top of these forces over here. And I could have all the commands on. I nearly forgot. So there's another building going down. It looks like he's going to lose this location, which is unfortunate for him. So securing land on the Alpha Team's base is literally going to be up to Snow for a little bit. And they've cut off Snow's reinforcements. Now I think both players are... Well, Kartoffelman's going to effectively defend from Animorph. While Space Alpaca tries to focus him down, he's got some units on the land. And is pushing forward towards these factories, getting the town first. And he's even got some Navy units coming around to try and assist with this. The submarine trying to defend desperately, but against the destroyer, that's not great. But they do have a strike command on this, which means the submarine's going to get some free hits there. They did manage to take out that town. But Kartoffelman secures the top areas, getting some economy going. And Snow in the south is trying to apply as much pressure as he can, but he's just not really finding a decent enough way to get in. He has found a weakness though. They aren't using any anti-air units, so the helicopters are a good way to try and push back. And he does have quite a few. The only anti-air is coming from the sea, I think, because some of them are damaged, so there must be some somewhere. Ah, there you go. There's some sand, but it's up north. The helicopters are being moved down by Kartoffelman to help support Space Alpaca against Snow in the south. Animorph has managed to defend pretty well against Space Alpaca and is now going for a nuke silo, so this could be an explosive map from now on, and they've got a good location in the water here with the aircraft. It does give them some reach, but it is exposed to any Navy units. So if Alpha Team gain ocean superiority here, they're going to lose these airfields as well. Now as both Alpha Team are teaming up together with the air units and ground forces to come in down here, Snow is struggling to push back again, and maybe push back off this island. With the amount of units he's got down here, I'd say it's quite likely he's not going to survive that, but it depends how many reinforcements he's got. He's got a lot of production over here, he just can't get the units across. See, the problem is that Space Alpaca had the forces in the ocean. He could just build another Navy yard now, but he could also set up another airfield and use transport aircraft to drop units off. All units can go from airfield to airfield if you've got two airfields set up. It's only commandos that get dropped off in a certain location. Space Alpaca's got one cruiser down here, pretty much destroying anything that's on the coastline. Submarine will help, but I think he's going to need two subs to take that out, unless he already has been damaged. Got some harassment coming in from Animorph, who's going to try and take out the energy wells, or any energy from Kartoffelman, but he does have some storage in the mountains, and he's got some backed up. How did this happen? Oh, they're on the same team. I thought that... I'm colourblind, sorry. I thought it was this colour I saw over here, and I thought he'd got in the back of his base. But no, he's got some energy over there. So he's going to be pretty well fueled for the energy at this point. And Animorph is trying to take in through the centre of the map. His tanks will be able to go as soon as he takes control of this location, which he's losing when these units are in there. So he's going to have to take those out before he can capture that land. Snow is taking a battering from these artillery, but because he's producing infantry, some really fast producing units, the artillery are getting slowed down so much. But he did put a strike command on. He realised that, so he put a strike command on the barracks. And then all of the artillery slowly moved forward. Now the barracks are in range, they don't need to keep on trying to sort of like deploy and undeploy every centimetre they move. Because it's a good strategy to try and keep your infantry one at a time to hold back a big force. But if the opponent sees what you're doing, it's quite easy to get out of that situation. With either a blue line or a strike command, just get them to move forward quite a bit and then get them to attack again, and then you might have to just manually push them forward. Over in this section though, Kartoffelman has opted for some interceptors instead of ground-based anti-air. He's got some anti-air down there, but these guys are going to chase them out of the airspace. Well, looks like we've got some commandos coming in. We've got a transport jet here, which are going to try and drop them off somewhere. I'm not sure where they're going. Might see a white line. They're coming here, I think. It is quite damaged, but I think it's going to get the drop off there. And those commandos are going to target that structure pretty well. But unfortunately, I think those infantry are going to try and catch him. So he's on the run. And I think they're just pretty much going to scout out the area. And they're going to go all the way back into the back of the base and see what they can do from behind. Animorph has relatively successfully secured this location. A rocket is now coming in. That'll help in the defense of this area. Kartoffelman has started putting some factories here, but that is not going to pay off because of the rocket. Unfortunately, being right between both of the enemies here, it's going to be quite difficult for him to actually push anywhere. As soon as he pushes down south, Red's going to push against him, and same vice versa. The best way to do it would be to try and defend up there and try and push down south as best you can, and have Snow also push against this guy. But there is a lot of bombers here, and these bombers can't support in the south that much. They can support with the defense pretty well, but those bombers are going to be able to try and attack this way a lot better, so it might just be worth doing it that just because of his situation. But Kartoffelman's actually got quite a large navy now, and as I said before, having ocean superiority in this area would be key to getting rid of the air units. And I think that Red is just about to gain that control. Unless Animorph notices, and he's going to have to use his air units against this navy. And because it's made mostly of submarines, that's actually going to be quite effective. There is quite a bit of anti-air, but I don't think there's enough anti-air there. I could be wrong though, I'm not sure. I do usually prefer strikers, but a lot of people prefer these bombers. And they do get separated. Some are focusing on these guys which are not anti-air, but usually the air units are going to try and focus down the anti-air. But I think that's the way he was moving his units, that just sort of separated just a few, and they were able to take them out quite nicely. The rocket I just heard get fired again, and it's going down south this time. And it does take out this choke point, which is quite nice. Took out the defense and any units coming in from there. Snow at the same time is going to be trying to invade this section of the map, which is leaving Space Alpaca pretty exposed. I would just like to check out the economy of all four players. So we got Kartoffelman on 1,297. Space Alpaca on 806, so that's about 2,000 per minute for Alpha Team. Snow's on 720, and Animorph is on 1,240. They're about the same. I think Bravo Team is just slightly under, unless my memory is bad on what I just read out literally just now to you. But I think Bravo Team is slightly lower in economy, but is doing better in the battlefields. These artillery are placed almost perfectly here, but Kartoffelman is literally just going to go around them. If any units came over here, they'd be moving slow over the mountains, and they're just placed on top of the mountains enough to get that bonus in defense. But Kartoffelman's literally just going to ignore that and attack through the side here anyway. At this stage in the game, I think Animorph, I know he wants to clear out this enemy, but he's got a good force coming in against him over here. He needs to try and focus down this area. Might be expending too many units here. But he's probably just going to wait for that nuke to come back, but he actually doesn't have enough money for it. So he doesn't have enough money for that nuke. He does have a lot of air units, but they are going out over here. And there's a commando on top of this energy well, which does go down before it becomes useful. And I think he sent some commandos out here. They have survived. He actually owns land here, and I don't think he even notices yet. And I don't think Space Alpaca noticed him lose that town either. Down here, Snow has absolutely demolished this base along with Animorph. But Animorph is slowly losing the north, well not north, middle section of the map. But he does have a lot of air units here to try and balance it out. The interceptors are caught directly on top of the airfields, and that is really good positioning for those interceptors. They don't need to go anywhere. As soon as any aircraft take off or return, they're going to get shot at by these guys. Snow is now coming up through this section to try and help support the enemy, support against the enemy. Whereas Animorph and Snow send in some forces this way to try and stop Space Alpaca from expanding further or just retreating and then to push forward again later. Neither player seems to have noticed that they have a commando hiding in the back over here yet. And this thing is still not building a rocket, so I think with the amount they cost, you kind of need to decide whether you're going to be able to use it again or whether you're just going to get rid of it to save yourself that money. But Kartoffelman has actually got a few units over here himself, just hiding in the mountains. These guys are commandos, so they can't really be seen. Especially when they're in the mountains like this. He does have enough units there to be able to see them, so otherwise they wouldn't shoot back. Over here, it looks like Red's Navy is coming in straight for these airfields, and they're relatively undefended. They have no energy. They have absolutely no energy. The commandos of Red have come into the back and built a base. They've took out 3 energy wells, which is leaving him defenseless in the ocean. And these Navy units are just going to tear it to shreds, and he's going to lose so much money from that. But on the other hand, Snow and Animorph over here are pushing quite heavily on the ground here. They've got quite a large force, and they're going to be able to push forward here. Interceptors are being sent forward to make sure these guys don't take off. Is Snow having any issues? Yes, by Navy. So Space Alpaca's got a bit of a Navy coming in here. The helicopters are dealing with them, keeping those reinforcements going. Kind of. I think the transports did just go down. But they are still trying to put a lot of pressure on down in the south there. Up over here though, the commandos are still surviving. But that barracks is going to get taken out pretty quickly. So these two guys are on a speed run down to the bottom here. And they may just take out this city. They don't have any airfields left, so the air units he has can't react fast to this location. He's going to have to bring the ground forces down. That's going to take a little while. He does have another rocket back in. And this main force that was here is now gone. That rocket does land. I didn't expect it to land with that many SAM there. And that rocket, I think, did just save him for a little bit. Down in this section, Space Alpaca is holding a nice retreat. He's been holding this position for a while in the mountains, a good little place to try and defend. He's now being pushed back once again and is setting up another defensive location here. This is a guy who is not surrendering, and for good reason. He has full ability to come back from this, especially if he doesn't let his teammate down and do his best to stay in for as long as possible. Even if he doesn't survive, just holding him back might give Kartoffelman enough to push back again. I mean, Kartoffelman's done a good job at harassment. The commandos over here taking out a complete city on their own. There you go, it does go down. I do think at this point, I'm still not 100% sure by far, both teams could still win, but I'm siding with Red here. They've been relatively unaffected, and he has taken out a lot of the energy at one point, leaving him free roam to do stuff. A rocket's come in, taking a lot of these structures out from the center. As a force does move in, he's going to need this rocket here to defend this location, and it is nearly built, so it is possible. But I just think with the harassments he's done, he's lost a lot of structures down here, just from a couple of commandos. That Red's taken possibly better trades at this point in the game. They have control in the ocean, they have control in the air now because there is no air to oppose him, apart from the helicopters down here. Snow is going to keep pushing against Space Alpaca. No one's still noticed this commando over here. Yeah, it is a commando. 2 commandos. No one's noticed it yet. I mean, he could bring it down to attack the energy wile, or he could just build over here. And what's going on up here? We do have another attack taking out this town. There's nothing he can do about that. Unfortunately, Animorph is being suppressed now. Doesn't have a navy, doesn't have an air force now, so losing the structures on this side of the land is gonna be quite a big blow if that happens. He doesn't have another rocket to defend with at this point, so Red's forces are going to be freely able to take on this area. They have starved Animorph of economy, I think, and he does have some area down here though. He's getting an air base on that section, which is actually not a bad position. It's right just across from Red, more safer zone. So it is kind of protected by its own lake here. The rocket comes in from Kartoffelman, destroying 3 structures on this island, leaving him only 1 production structure in this direct vicinity. There is the the barracks base here, and snow stuff on that section. Does Red still have those commandos on this side? I don't think he does. So everyone is back to their sort of islands, apart from what's happening in this section. And Snow set up a proxy base in this area to try and force this choke point down. Mostly made up of infantry and 2 factories. Have they noticed over here yet? Animorph has finally noticed these barracks down here. Or the commandos, should I say. Don't think I would have released attacks just yet, because that kind of reveals your own position. You might want to have built up a bit of a force first. Especially when you know they got air units. They got anti-air over here. You'd need a factory and a few SAM units set up. Luckily the helicopters can't see him that well. The interceptors have found the airbase over here, and they're going to pretty much cover that for the probably as long as they can do it for. And Red is pushing their forces down into the south over here, into the back of the attacking force down in this section. But does he have anything directly against Animorph right now? I don't think so. No, I think everything has gone. So Animorph has a secured location back in his original location. And that rocket's coming down to make sure that airfield isn't useful anymore. And that's going to cause some casualties of his own there. And a rocket comes down to try and take out as many as they can, but some artillery do get left in there. But that does make it less of a problem. However, not for too long, because that's quite a big force as well. And that's going to start coming down in that area soon. And there's a rocket here. He's got 2 rockets up here, so one of them came down and took out a lot of the forces over here, which is going to give Blue the ability to push against Snow now. Even with the reinforcements coming in here, these guys are going to have to deal with what's coming up north and the nuke. Whereas down here, they're just holding the lines, and some helicopters are moving in around the side, and they're going to try and take out these SAM units first. But unfortunately, most of them don't target the SAM units, but they do go down. But it won't take too much to hold him back still. Especially with Animorph pushing through the back. He's literally switching sides of the map. Have a quick look at map view. Yeah, so he's got locations everywhere, pretty much. But Snow has lost this location. Took out Offerman, and he does have a lot of boats, but he just doesn't have enough to send across. He seems to have stopped production. Have a look at Snow. No, he stopped production over there because he's got a lot of production here as it is. And I don't think that nuke is in range of this location, so these production structures are relatively safe. But I do think that the interceptors here are going to get a good scout off in that area as they start realizing what's going on over here. So they are kind of getting boxed in still, but I think the Alpha team have pretty much got this. These nukes are in very defensible positions and are giving him a lot of good trades on this. And it looks like we just lost someone. That's Snow. Snow is gone, and there we go. Alpha team did manage to win that game. It looked so good for them at one point as well, for Bravo team. But unfortunately, they just wasn't able to keep up that momentum. It was probably around this point where I was thinking that they were starting to win. And then unfortunately they just weren't able to keep it up. Let me know what you thought of that game. What should people have done differently? And I'd like to see the comments. Thank you for watching. There's 2 videos on screen right now. Feel free to click on one and I'll see you there.